Hi guys, this is Emma from Life Choice Investment, and I've got Adaeze Chiwoko here from Marriage for Real. And today we're going to talk about money and marriage. So Adaeze, it's over to you to introduce yourself.
Yeah, so my name's Adaeze Chiwoko. I'm the marriage and relationship coach from Marriage for Real. I work with couples all around the world, as far as Australia, and right here in the UK, helping them to radically transform their relationship and helping them to create amazing, flourishing, happy, exciting marriages.
That sounds exciting as well. Great. Yeah, so today the topic is probably slightly different to what you normally talk about in your videos, right? Because Adaeze also has got a YouTube channel as well, and she's quite active on Facebook. So if you want to check her page out, then I'm just gonna put a link in the description box. So you're more than welcome to do that, and please subscribe and all that stuff, and subscribe to my channel as well. Like a bit of self-promotion as well. So like and share, if you get any value out of the video, as always. So money,
the big one
in a marriage, when you bring two completely different lives together with different habits and different background, and even if you live in the same town, you're both from the same culture, you can still have completely different ideas about money.
Absolutely. And it's interesting you use that word culture, because even within every home there's a different culture. So we may be from the same place, but in our individual houses there's a different culture, and that culture will give us different ideas on how we do everything, including how we manage money.
Yeah. So do you actually come across this issue, by the way, like with your clients, when the money is like a major problem in the marriage?
Yeah, there's some couples who they get married, they come together, and they just have a really similar outlook on marriage. They have similar goals, money, sorry. They have similar goals, and they have a similar idea on how to marry, how to manage their money. But there are couples who their habits are so different. Their ideas on money and what it's used for are so different. Their plans for the future. Some people are very, here today, gone tomorrow, get money today, we'll spend it, we'll get some more. But then there's other people who are quite frugal and, really want to plan their money. And in those situations, it can get really difficult, especially if they're not communicating well.
Yeah, so it's communication, isn't it? It always comes down to communication.
Everything always comes down to communication, but also I think beyond the communication is understanding. So you really need to, first of all, look inwards and just be honest with yourself. So I find that a lot of people that maybe aren't so good at managing money don't want to say that. Right? They don't want to admit it. And so for you to have a good conversation, as two people planning, you first have to look at yourself and say, hey, actually, I'm in a lot of debt, or I'm really rubbish at managing money, or I spend a lot. And then you're able to really start to plan, knowing, who's got what issues and who's got what strengths.
Yeah, do you think it's got to do a little bit with men and women's role as well? Because I know from my parents' marriage actually that money was a major issue, and I also know that money can be quite a big of an issue in most marriages. And in that, we're talking 1980s, 90s in my parents' situation, so it was very much a lot of gender role situation was going on as well. Man has to manage the money, and you wouldn't just hand it over to the wife. So even though my dad is just like you explained, he was the type that he wouldn't say that he's not good at managing money. And also he had in his mind that he's the man, he needs to manage the money, and he's just gone all pear-shaped with that.
Yeah.
So do you think it's got to do with this gender role as well?
It's cultural, because in some places it is the manly thing to do is to make the money and hand it over to the wife. In other places, it's the manly thing to make the money and manage the money. So again, it comes down to cultural, and yes, gender roles can come into it, but I really think that it's more about what works for you. So if that particular gender role way of managing your money actually works, and you're happy with one person managing all the money, and that works for you both, go for it. I really do subscribe to making sure that you come up with a system that works, regardless of whether it's cultural or it's gender roles. As long as it works for you and you're happy. The only difficulty comes when you're not happy and it isn't working out and the person that is managing the money isn't good at managing the money, then we start having a real problem.
Yeah. So what do you advise? Like, how do you solve that problem? If one of them is a big spender, the other one's trying to be frugal, and then we have other cultural issues when, you know, one of them doesn't want to let it go. How do you compromise? What do you do?
Well, I think that really the issue behind that is one of them doesn't want to let it go. Then we've got a bigger issue that we have to deal with before the money. Because a couple who is happy and working together and great team and have a really good relationship, sitting down and having a frank conversation about money and saying, hey, do you know what, actually, and you know what, even now I'm thinking about it, my husband and I, we've swapped a couple of times while we're trying to figure out who's best at what, and tried it with him managing it, that didn't quite work, then tried it with me. And then I think I went through a stage where I was like, it wasn't working with me, went back to him. And so we just keep adjusting, and, you know, sometimes I'm amazing at savings and he's not so, and sometimes we switch. I think we've settled now, where I set the budget with him and manage the bills in terms of what's getting paid. And then our future sort of big savings and investments and whatever, he sort of is in charge of those things. But we've had to dance around and try different things a few times to get to that point. Yeah. So
do you think it's actually healthy to, because, you know, you are like a marriage specialist, so I love watching your videos as well and everything, and I know that men have like a massive ego.
Yeah.
And every marriage book that I've actually just read in the past, they always talk about, you know, giving responsibility to a man, and the man is not going to feel good if the lady is the breadwinner and things like that. So I actually, because, you know, life these days is so different. It's possible that at a certain point the woman is going to be the breadwinner. So how do you think that could work out?
Yeah. There are some men that struggle with it, and I think that there needs to be a lot of sort of teaching around this. The important thing is not focusing on who's bringing in the money, but mutual respect. So yes, men shouldn't be so concerned about who makes money, because we're in a different world now. It's a lot more of an equal playing field for women. We're not stuck in the house anymore. We're doing things like this and setting our own pathways. So men really have to adjust to this and get used to the knowledge that it is very probable that their wives are going to be earning a lot of money. On the flip side, women also have to learn to be respectful and don't get into some form of power struggle, challenge, competition, I earn more money than you, and use it as a way to put down their men. I think that's where it really becomes an issue. Understanding that, yes, men are a lot more driven by ego. So, okay, I earn more money, but how can I make sure that he still feels amazing and he still feels like he has a position in this home? When you're saying, you know, I earn all the money in this house, I don't need you, that's when it starts to become, you know, it's going to cause problems in your marriage and make your husband feel really invalidated and undervalued. And I think that's the key thing that men want. They want to feel like they are needed. It's not as much about I'm in control. It's their natural, innate sense of I want to feel like I am needed, I'm important, I look after, I provide for, you know. And so it can be difficult for them when they're not in that position. And then if you've got a woman who's really rubbing it in their faces, it does make them feel, you know, less than.
I actually did a video about, you know, like what, it was love and respect, and
great book about that as well. Have you read the book?
Which book is it? No.
It's called Love and Respect.
Love and Respect, really? No. Just the video was called Love and Respect that I took part in. But basically, I know that there are the 3 Ps that Steve Harvey, he's talking about, like provide, profess, and protect is the three P's that the men, you know, like is the fundamentals that they always need to have.
Yeah.
But then, so what happens if that's not possible? If for some reason that the lady is going to be, you know, the breadwinner, do you think they should just thrive to do more so they can just like get on the top of it? No,
I don't think I don't think it's necessary to have that level of competition within the family. I think that still a man can feel like he is protecting. He can feel like he's providing, and he can profess without earning the most money. Whatever money you're earning, as long as you're putting it in the pot and it's supporting the family you're providing. There's some families, or there's some couples who, no matter what the wife is earning, the husband will say, my money is for looking after the house. Your money is to do whatever you want to do with. Yeah, there's some blessed women like that.
I need to find some of them.
Right? Yeah. You still protect, right? You know what I mean? It's not as if women are expected not to do, you know, those gender roles that are placed on us. Even though we're working, women are still coming home and looking after the house and nurturing and being loving mothers. It's not like we say, well, we earn the most money, so we're not doing any of that anymore. So I don't think that your salary packet eradicates your responsibilities in the home, you know, no matter how big or small they are.
Yeah. And then you also mentioned, you know, like the problem starts when the woman starts kind of disrespecting the man and saying, like, I'm the breadwinner, so now, you know, what you say doesn't count. Don't you think that's a reaction to something?
I actually think that sometimes it can be a reaction to something. It can be a reaction to a woman feeling like she's had to fight so hard to find her voice and find a position, and maybe she's pushing back at her husband, who may have been part of the reason why she's been feeling so downtrodden. But also sometimes I think that women get into it's almost like a competition that they've just placed themselves in. It's like they want to prove something, maybe just to themselves. And I think that's when it becomes dangerous, you know. Also, I think that sometimes women, we don't know how to switch off from our masculine and switch back into our feminine energy. And we carry this masculine energy around with us, and we can get very power hungry and very, you know, like, I can take over the world, which is fine, we can, but we don't need to bash our husbands over the head with it, you know what I mean? Yeah. There's something that about women, we can do all things, right? We are very, very powerful.
I sometimes feel like that too.
Right?
Yeah.
But I think that there's something almost missing. I feel like if somebody really needs to constantly be competing with somebody, and actually as the higher they go up, they want to bash down their lover, I think that sometimes there's something going on within them that they need to deal with, and just get to the point where their self-image is settled and they're comfortable.
Yeah. To be honest, in this video, I really just wanted to kind of get to the mindset behind, you know, the money issues in a marriage. So I think we're just gonna stop right here, and then maybe we have another video later where we're going to talk about the actual practical things that you can do with your money in a marriage to make it work.
Okay.
So I think I just have to say thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe to both of our channels. So it's Life Choice Investments. Subscribe please, and Marriage for Real, and see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.